Hi there. So the people that know me know that I'm a Google Ads specialist, and that's someone that's really far away from being able to create code that is a functional software. But with the help of AI, I was able to launch my very first SaaS product that has right now 15 active users, and it got recently its first paying customer. And if that's not amazing in this era, then I don't know what is. And this is not to brag, this is to inspire everyone that's watching this video. That now if you have an idea and if you have patience and you sit down and you want to make that idea a reality, you can. There are no limitations. And trust me who never coded and never developed a product, if I was able to do it, then I think everyone else can do it. And now let me show you the product. So this is basically an AI body fat analyzer that I was needing it for my gym progress so I can track it and see how my body fat percentage develops over time. And what the tool does, well, let me show you a demo because that's easier, obviously. And everything you will see over here, it's developed by AI. So I was just guiding it with my English, and then he was translating English to JavaScript and React. And basically that's how the tool got to be a real tool that it's working. So you have some basic measurements over here, a dashboard, so you can track the progress over time. You can also track your body fat progress over time. And then you have here this small interface. You go there, you upload a picture of yourself. Before you start freaking out, that's not me. And then you just send it to the AI for an analysis. The AI behind this tool, the model was trained on other pictures from which I knew the body fat percentage. So this will check the picture, take the measurements in consideration, and then it will come back with an analysis. And the tool says that this picture, so that guy on that picture has a body fat percentage of 12%. Then it goes on to give certain explanations based on the measurement and also visual indicators like lean but full muscle bellies, some vascularity visible, moderate definition in obliques, and so on. Compares it to healthy ranges, such as like for a 30-year-old male, healthy body fat ranges around 11 and 22%, and all those things. And it says few other things. So, and then it sums it up. Overall, this represents an excellent balance of muscle mass and leanness that's indicative of consistent training and nutrition habits. Would be nice if that would about me, but it isn't. But anyway, and then you can just let me scroll down. Then you can track your progress on this chart. You can also, if you enter the weight, that will be also visible. And then basically that's it. So nothing super fancy, but it's nice and it's easy. Yeah, it's nice to have it, and you can easily track your progress with pictures. You just need to upload a photo every month, once or maybe twice, and then you have nicely visual representation of your body fat percentage progress. So now that I showed you what I created with AI, let me go through a few things and explain a few learnings and mistakes that I had during this journey that can help you if you just start with something like this. And you don't have to go through all the pains and mistakes that I had in this during this project. And the number one is, before you even start, you need to imagine exactly and to know exactly what your tool will do. You don't have to be like to know exactly so all the little things that the tool will do, but the main features you need to have clear in your head. So think about it like this. When I started with DEXA Scan AI, I knew that I want to be able to upload a picture. AI model that it's trained on data needs to analyze that picture and come back with an analysis and tell me the body fat percentage based on that image. The data needs to be stored in a database so we can have historical progress, and then we can create like a timeline graph so we can see the progress over time. Authentication system, so users can log in. After the user logged in, they can get like a record in the database and their own profile where we can save all the data. And then we need to be able to charge the users, so we need like a payment provider, in this instance Stripe. So I knew exactly all these things that I wanted to do. And before I started to work on this project, this is actually version 2. When I started to work on this, I explained AI. I used Cursor, hey, I want this and this and this, what we need for this and how we can achieve this. And then AI recommended the tech stack, and he also knew exactly before we started, hey, what we want to achieve. Because the mistake I made with version 1 of the tool is that I focused too much on the UI. So I didn't even explain AI what I want. I just explained briefly, hey, I want a tool that can analyze images and then tell the body fat percentage. And then AI was like, hey, nice, let's start coding it. And also AI focused on the front end. So it created the user interface, and then I was able to add an image and upload it, and was everything fancy and was going so fast, and we had all the features and it was super nice. And I had the feeling, oh, we are going so fast, I will finish this in the next hour. And then everything came crashing down and everything started to break down, because all the code that AI created, it was not really meant to work together with the backend things that I needed. And now we transition to point number 2. So after you know exactly what you want to do, start focusing on the backend. And the mistake I made in version 1 was that I never explained AI exactly what I want to do. So AI didn't know what backend we will need. So it created a nice fancy front end. But all that code that was created wasn't meant to work together with Supabase or Clerk. And when we started to add Clerk, we needed to make all the other changes to the other files. And then when we added Supabase, we needed to make all the changes to the other files. So just an example, in the version 1, I created the image analysis step that you also saw. So I uploaded the picture, the image was analyzed, and then I got the results. But nothing was saved because there was no database connected to it. So when I asked AI, hey, we need to add Supabase so we can save all the data per user, then he was like, oh yeah, then we need to make the change to this feature. And then we also need to make the change to the other file, and then to the other file, and to the other file. And it got so complex and it lost so much context that actually I had to give up and start all over. So this tool that you saw, that's version 2, that was created in this way that I'm now presenting to you. So yeah, start with the backend. So when I started on version 2, I explained AI what I want. He already knew which backend we will use. He knew what tech stack we're going to use. So we started with that. First, we created Clerk and then connected it to Supabase. And then we connected it to Stripe. So when someone created a profile, they got a backend record in Supabase. And then we also connected Stripe. And then everything was working nicely. And then from there, we added the AI analysis layer. So when someone added a picture, it was uploaded to Supabase. And then also the analysis, when it came back, the percentage of the body fat also was added to Supabase. And then so on. We kept building on the top of the base all the other things. Because in version 1, what I created, I first built the roof of the house and then started to go the other way. And then in version 2, I started to first create the base of the house, like how you should build a house, and then create the rest on the top of it. So yeah, first focus on the backend. Make sure that all the backend functionalities work and they are correctly connected to each other. And then go on from there. Number 3 is related to the other two, obviously. It's the tech stack. So once you get familiar with the tech stack, and what I mean by tech stack, what kinds of tools you use and you connect it together. So for me, for database, I use Supabase because it's nice and it's open source, and it's also really free. The other thing is the TypeScript and React, the language that I use to create the projects. Clerk for authentication. Why Clerk? Because I also like it. You have 10,000 users in the free tier, and so on. So when you pick a tech stack, stick with it, because probably when you start creating projects like this, it's not going to be only one project. And then you want to create a second project and then a third project. And if you keep using the same tech stack, you will also understand it better and you will learn about them, and then you will be better at prompting AI to create what you actually want to create. So yeah, keep and stick with the same tech stack and softwares across all your projects. That will save a lot of headaches, and you will learn a lot about those tools as well. 4 is always check what Cursor created and added to the standing code snippets and code base, because it still has the tendencies to delete certain parts of the code that didn't need a deletion, and that can mess up a whole project. So when you add a feature, cursor changes something, go through it, it highlights nicely everything in green or red if he removes something, green if he adds something. Go through those things, and if you're not sure about something, just ask, hey, why are you deleting this? Or why are you adding this feature? And then you also, on that way, you understand what part of the project does what. And then if he wants to delete something stupidly and that you didn't want to delete, then you can stop the process at that point and say, no, don't delete that, we need that. So yeah, always make sure that you check what he is deleting, and then you can prevent the deletion of a feature that you wanted to keep. And the sixth point will be linked nicely to this one. Have checkpoints, just like in a game. What I mean by this is when you create when you add a bigger feature, by saving it, what I mean is uploading it to GitHub. So make a commit at that stage to GitHub, and then you have a backup, and then you can go further with adding new features. What these AI coding tools are still doing is that they delete or they change certain parts of the code that you didn't want to change. So you have all the working tool, all the features, and then you want to add a new feature. You ask AI, hey, I also want to, for example, move the button from right to left. Yeah, okay, let's do it. And then he starts editing the files, then you accept it, and then you test it, and you realize that he not just moved the button from right to left, he also moved the title from right to left, and then the whole other features are not working because of this change, and then you are like, no, I didn't want you to do that. So have checkpoints, because when he does crazy things like this, and you have the working version uploaded to GitHub, then you can just delete everything that he created and then download the checkpoint from GitHub and then prompt again. So you save the progress, because it happened many times. I wanted to add something, he made some stupid changes, and then I couldn't roll it back, and then I need to spend 2 extra hours to again get back to the point where I was. So when you are happy with the progress, just upload it to GitHub. That's like your safe place, like a checkpoint place, and then go further, add new features. If everything breaks, just delete everything, download it again from GitHub, and then repeat until you get what you want to have as a new feature. And then the last point is ask AI to explain the code for you. So just highlight part of the code in cursor and then ask, hey, what's this code is doing? And there are two main reasons for this. One is to actually understand how your tool is working, because it's nice to know that. And the second one is you will help AI to spot his own mistakes. It might sound funny, but trust me, it's working. It happened many times that I was highlighting a part of the code, and I asked the cursor, hey, what's this part of the code doing? And he went on, yeah, this part of the code is talking with file A, and then triggers this function. And I was like, yeah, but we don't really use that. And then AI came back, oh, yeah, you are true. We added this, but we never added it to the file, so it's actually not needed. So let's delete it. And then he deletes it because we don't need it. He just added it for some reason, never got actually used, and it was just standing there. And in this way, created like a complex code which you can delete, and you have the actual working code. And this is just one example, but it still makes funny mistakes. And when you start going through the part of the code and you ask AI to explain it, even cursor will come back, actually, now that you mention, we don't really need this part, so we can change it. Or, oh, I see that I made a mistake here, let me change it, and then he starts editing it. So yeah, it's also nice to go through your code and ask AI, hey, what's this doing, to help him spot his own mistakes. It's like teaching a toddler sometimes. So yeah, basically that's it. So to sum it up, number one, know exactly what you want to do before you start working on your project. So you know the main features and explain what you want the users to do. So basically describe your user journey. Number two is when you start working on it, make sure that the complicated things, so like the backend stuff, is connected and it's working, and then start building all the features on top of that. Number 3, after you pick the tech stack and you are familiar with it, so the tools and everything you use, stick to that across your project, so you have a bit of like a familiar, known neighborhood, and not just change between project to project between all kinds of tech stacks, because it's going to be also for you really confusing. 4, always check what cursor is editing and changing. 5, make sure that you test every feature that it's added. 6, have checkpoints. So if something gets crashed or doesn't work, you can always have like a save point and a backup, so you can go back to it. And 7, ask AI to explain the code, so you also understand what your project is doing, and then help AI to spot its own mistakes. And then, basically that's it. And I hope this video will inspire you, and then you will also go on a journey to create tools and to create your own project. Because, nowadays with all these really powerful models that are coming out, the ideas that are in your head, they are just a Saturday evening away from being a reality, and maybe even earn you a few dollars. And I think much more people should start coding with AI and create tools with AI, because it's just nice to do it. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. And it's still not perfect. I'm also learning, and I'm happy for feedback from, maybe if you are a senior software engineer with a lot of experience, I'm happy and open for all kinds of feedback. And looking forward to create more new tools. Happy coding.